Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Adam Muhammad Asman and I'd like to welcome you to the English news programme on Somaliland National Television, broadcasting to you from the capital of Somaliland, Hargeisa. Here are the latest developments taking place across Somaliland. The Kulmiya Party's third Grand Conference comes to a close. Minister of the Presidency takes a tour of the Salahley Road construction. Mayor of Gar unveils new well. The third Kulmiya Party conference came to a close, with the chairman, vice chairman and other key party positions elected to represent the party for the next 5 years. The event itself was held in the capital of Somaliland, Hargeisa. The two-day Kulmiya Party conference came to a close with final decisions made on key positions for the ruling political party, which included the chairman of the party for the next 5 years. The number of candidates for the Central Committee was increased by 100, 10 of which will be chosen by the President of Somaliland, Ahmed Mohamed Mahmoud, another 10 chosen by the Chairman of the Kulmiya political party, Musa Bihi Abdi, and a further 6 members chosen by the Vice President of Somaliland, Abdurrahman Abdullah Ismail Sayli'i. The Minister of Defence, Ahmed Adami, provided a keynote where he discussed the choosing of the party chairman and how unity of the nation and the party is the way to develop the peace and stability which is enjoyed across Somaliland. The voting procedure proved successful for the re-election of the Kulmiya Party chairman, Musa Bihi Abdi, while the first deputy chairman stayed as Mohammed Kahin Ahmed and second deputy chairman, Mohammed Haji Yusuf Wabeye, alongside the third deputy chairman becoming Abdurrahman Mohamed Taliyaya. The chairman of the Kulmiya political party, Musa Bihi Abdi, provided a keynote speech where he thanked the members of the party who chose him to become their chairman and promised to ensure that he will continue to develop the party and work within its constitution. The Vice President of Somaliland, Abdurrahman Abdullah Ismail Sayli'i, provided a speech at the event where he thanked all participants for their active involvement in the choosing of the party's key political positions. The Minister of the Presidency, Hirsi Ali Haji Hassan, took a tour of the construction of the Salahley Road, accompanied by other state officials and the committee for the construction of the Salahley Road. The Minister of the Presidency, Hirsi Ali Haji Hassan, took a tour of the construction of the Salahley Road. The Minister of the Presidency was accompanied by the Minister of State for the Ministry of the Presidency, Mohammed Musa Abais, and the Central Committee for the construction of this new road, which has been totally funded within Somaliland. Minister Hirsi Ali Haji Hassan provided a speech upon his inspectional tour, where he discussed his delight at how the people of the region and the Somaliland government have ensured that their work together has produced progressive results. The Minister of the Presidency said, "I am delighted that this project is ongoing, and I'd like to express my delight at the dedication of the people in this region for their determination. We promise to ensure the standard of this road will be improved, and that once the agreed distance has been covered, we will release the funds for the remainder promised. First, complete, then you will get. Once this is completed, we will get all the way to Salahley." The chairman of the Salahley Road Committee provided a few words, where he thanked the involvement of the Somaliland government and conveyed the community's delight and support, where he also quoted the motto for this current administration, "Help us, help you." The mayor of the town of Gar unveiled a new well constructed in the small town. The mayor of Gar which is in the eastern regions of Somaliland, held a ceremony to mark the construction of a new well for the small town. The local municipality unveiled this new well with the assistance of the International Humanitarian Organization of the United Nations, UNICEF. The event had residents of the town present in delight, which had many people provide speeches of their happiness regarding the construction of this new well. High-ranking officials of the region also gave keynote speeches at the event, where they stated the joy at this new construction. The well is expected to help a few thousand people across the town and the region in regards to water needs and resources. That's the end of our daily news report. Thanks very much for watching. Now for a news feature with retired General of the British Armed Forces, John Steed, providing an in-depth interview on the issue of piracy across the Horn of Africa.
Hi, I'm here with John Steed, retired Colonel, MBE, that works with Oceans Beyond Piracy here in the Somali Conference, SOPEC, in Dubai. John has had a very diverse career in the security services, and just wanted to gain further insight into the issue of piracy. John, if we could please start with perhaps the origins. Obviously, it's been considered a controversial issue. However, what do you think was the beginnings or the reasons for or piracy and how it all started?
I think to be clear from the outset, piracy is a legal act. It's run by criminal masterminds who exploit young innocent Somalis and send them to sea in return for huge amounts of money. But going back a little further than that, fishing has always been a controversial activity, and conflict between fishermen and the cutting of fishing nets has always been an issue. Small fishermen from the coast being put off fishing by the larger fishing trawlers, and then gradually, of course, a feeling that the local communities that their fish are being raided by these big trawlers from foreign countries. And that in turn led to some conflict and some attacks on trawlers. And that's some of the apocryphal stories behind piracy. There's also stories about toxic waste dumping, and there's probably was toxic waste dumping some time ago, but it's not happening now. But there is illegal fishing happening now off Somali waters. Off the north coast, there's a lot of illegal fishing from Yemen, in close to the shore, and certainly off the eastern coast there's a huge amount of illegal fishing by the big tuna fleets, and that's something that we're trying to correct and things we've been discussing here at the conference.
Thank you. And in terms of the steps that are actually being taken at the moment, in regards to the naval capacity and the development of the coastal lines, whether it's the communities that live there or just overall patrolling of the Somali waters in general and across the Indian Ocean, obviously, where this issue is such a scourge on the world at the moment. What steps are currently being taken by Oceans Beyond Piracy on this?
Generally, the international community at large has an interest, and that interest is that this particular part of the world controls the flow of oil and the flow of goods and services to Europe and the West, and the international community isn't going to have its trade disrupted, and that's one of the things that brought the naval presence here. It also affects the region, though. Piracy has put up the price of containers coming into the ports of East Africa, the Horn and East Africa. And even some of the inland African countries have suffered because of piracy, because the cost of containers and the insurance required for ships coming through the high-risk area is that much greater. So it has an international effect, and it has a very significant regional effect. And that's what's bred the naval presence. It was to suppress that, and the Navy have done a wonderful job. Navies have done a wonderful job at suppressing the piracy, but also the shipping industry has taken its own actions, and that's including arming ships and putting wire and hoses and all the things that you've seen on ships. So a combination of best management practice by the industry and naval activity has brought piracy down to an all-time low, to a situation where we have no ships being held off the coast at the moment, and only the last successful attack was in 2012. So the effect has been quite good. There are still 50-odd hostages held from various ships inside Somalia by pirates, and they've essentially been kidnapped and are being held for ransom. And some of them have been there for well over 3 years, which is a horrendous time psychologically for them. So, but the combination of all of this has brought piracy down to an all-time low, and that means now is a time when we need to start taking other actions to keep that situation.
Thank you. Now, we've discussed coastal development and the developing of coastal regions in terms of developing livelihoods and so forth. What steps are the international community taking to ensure that people along the coastline are no longer attracted by the law of piracy?
That's a very good question. I've just said that we've got piracy to an all-time low, but when you've got it at an all-time low, what are you going to do to keep it there? Well, the naval activity can't stay there forever. And so there needs to be capacity building of the Somali region and the regions and states to build their own coast guard capability so that they can patrol their own territorial waters and to ensure that piracy doesn't continue. But part of what we need to do is to ensure that young men don't want to go to sea, despite the offers and encouragement from these criminal bosses, that there are other alternatives, and that means alternative livelihoods. Some of these coastal communities are desperately poor, as you know, and have suffered during drought and periods of drought. That the traditional livelihoods of the region, need to be brought back. So, as you know, the exportation of cattle and meat is an important part of the Somali economy and always has been. So that means the ports of Somalia need to be enhanced and improved and modernized so that meat can be exported under the right conditions for the markets in like here in Dubai. At the same time, the fishing industry, which we talked about quite a lot yesterday, needs to be regenerated. Somalia has tremendous fishing potential, both shellfish, in close to the shore, and the tuna that's in the deep water. And we need to regenerate the fishing industry so that Somali communities have the boats that can fish for tuna in the deeper water. That those boats can easily be built in Hargeisa or Bosaso. They don't need to come from abroad. And there is a knock-on of industries that goes with regenerating the fishing and regenerating the port. And generally the communities will see and feel the effect of that. And if there's work and employment and money, then the inclination to go and be a pirate or any of the other criminal activity that takes place at sea, is less and reduced. So that's the objective.
Thank you. And that's all good and well, and that's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, that type of capacity building needs to take place in order to ensure that people don't see piracy or any such criminal activities as an attractive source of income. In terms of how long it will take to get these communities back on their feet, how long do you envision, including the naval presence and so forth, how long do you think this will take in order to actually achieve its full goal?
The honest answer is a very long time. It'll take maybe a generation to turn this around completely. But there are a lot of projects that you can do at the small scale that can start immediately, and that's where Oceans Beyond Piracy and Shirako, our development arm, come in with microfinancing for small communities and small businesses. We're already sponsoring beekeeping and the making of honey in Somaliland, and we have funded some fishermen to improve their boats, give them better engines, give them the ability to store their fish at the small level, and from small things grow big things. So that's a very good reason for starting now. I said it would take a long time to turn it around completely, but you have to start somewhere, and starting small and developing as you go is the sort of thing that we need to be doing. And all of these communities require some form of development, and sometimes it's even beyond their own government. So you need external investment, and you need to develop the markets for them to sell their goods. So, for instance, honey or fish, you have to have a market for it. But Somalia's got a wonderful reputation for agricultural goods, and you've seen some of the stalls here. So it's helping them develop that market, and that's what we're about.
And that's all the news we have for you today. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.